So in 2012, that was the heady days of the NBN rollout. So the government at the time were looking for projects to kind of really push the NBN to see if you did have this massive bandwidth, what could you do with it? And we were asked at CSIRO to come up with a project idea to see, how you could use that massive amount of bandwidth. So I just happened to already have come up with an idea that I had ready. Somebody many years ago told me it was always a good idea to have so-called back pocket projects, where if you have a project idea, quickly write it down, store it somewhere, and then when someone comes along and asks for ideas, you can just whip it out. So I already had this ready to go. So we were asked with not much notice, maybe 24 hours notice, to propose a project. So I whipped this one out we already had. And it was all about putting a robot in a museum. At the time, we didn't know which museum it would be, but the concept was you have a robot in the museum, and you have a special camera on top of this robot, which is a 360-degree field of view camera. Now, what that means is that people that at home or in schools can sort of dial into the robot, and they can do a tour of the museum with a human tour guide who would accompany the robot and talk about the different exhibits in the museum. But the people at school or at home could actually have an independent view of the exhibits. Because we have this 360-degree field of view camera, they can kind of just look at a little portal of that themselves. And it's as if, say there were 20 people logged into this, each of them will have their own view that they can control. So the people at home or school think they're controlling their own camera, but actually there's only one camera. It just happens to look at everything. And then all the magic's done in the software and gives them this idea that they're looking through their own camera. So it could kind of scale. But the reason that pushes the NBN was because that 360-degree field of view camera has a massive amount of data. Right? It's huge. So it really needed the NBN. So that we sold this project idea, and the government of the time loved it, and we got a decent sized project. And then we looked around, what are the appropriate museums to put that in? And the National Museum of Australia in Canberra seemed the right place to do that. So that's where we developed the project and installed it. And it ran for many years. There were 2 robots there, shaped like chess pieces, that effectively people, in schools could actually move around.